Hey guys, so welcome back to Indirect Knowledge. So tonight we've got some tarot card readings to do. And the first card reading that we're going to do is from Madelyn. Madelyn, I've done a reading already once for her. This is a question about a guy that she's fond of. Wants to know if he's going to come back. Wants to know when he'll come back. It's been a couple of weeks since they talked. He wanted her to give him some space. Said that he would be in touch. She wants to know, does he have feelings for her still? Does he think about her? Or maybe has he possibly moved on? Maybe talking to someone else. Replaced her with someone else, that kind of thing. She wants to know, does he miss her? And does he still think of a future with her? Wants to know if he's scared of her. And really what matters most to her is, will he come back? So let's find out. Just going to go ahead and put these cards out. And get an idea of what's going on here. So we have, in the past, it was a kind of a whole new idea. It's what the Ace of Swords represent. A whole new idea, a whole new kind of relationship, that kind of thing. Now, right now what's going on, we have the Knight of Pentacles. So Pentacles are about grounding, wanting to feel grounded, a sense of grounding. Knights, they deal with movement. So when you see like the sword and the knight or any of the knights on the horses, you notice that there's movement there. Knights represent that movement. Of all of the knights, though, the one that represents the least amount of movement is, you guessed it, the Knight of Pentacles. Look at that horse. He's just kind of, pretty complacent there, not really doing anything, just standing. And of course, our knight is upon him, and then he's holding that pentacle, that money, that coin, and just kind of thinking about the future and trying to figure out how to make a solid, committed future and how to ground things, how to make things more permanent. That's what this is really all about. It's more about concrete, less about fluidity. So we have kind of this overarching theme in the tarot. One is this thing about fixedness, things that are fixed, things that are pretty concrete, things that are really the foundation, the bedrock, that kind of thing. And then we also have other concepts that are more about fluidity, movement, moving on, speed. So there's an element of that runs through the tarot. And with this, there's movement, but it's more about moving in a direction to find some kind of groundedness. And that's really what's going on here right now in the present moment. So this guy, he could be thinking more in terms of like, a long-term relationship. He could be thinking in terms of wanting to make a future with you, wanting to have some kind of roots or some kind of, permanent base. He could also be thinking about a job and making money and really the direction of his life, what that next direction is going to look like for him. So there's a lot of ideas going on. The first idea, of course, was this whole new idea that sword, the Ace of Swords is like a new kind of mental idea, new ideas start to happen. And that was maybe 2 or 3 months ago. This is the Knight of Pentacles. That's what's happening right now. It's sort of like, okay, I know I need money. I know I need some kind of commitment, some kind of groundedness. Might need to buy a house, might need to do this, might need to do that. But there's ideas like that, permanence. These are things that are concrete, fixedness. It could be I need to buy a car, or I need to, figure out my bills, or I need to figure out a solution to just solvency, these kind of things. And that's really what's going on here. We see that. But there's movement, and it's movement in that kind of fixed position. So that concrete position, trying to get things organized so that you can just know that at the end of every month, you've got things covered, bills are covered, school's covered, wherever you're at in life, whatever stage you are in your life, you want to have some kind of a foundation for that, and you want to set yourself up right. And that's what this card is really all about. So if you're wondering, Madelyn, really what he's thinking and what's going through his mind and all of these kind of things, there's quite a bit going on there, but all of it is directly related to his future. And he's thinking in terms of like the long term, what is it that he really wants? That kind of thing. He's not thinking in terms of the immediate future, hither, thither, these kind of things. It's more kind of a long-term understanding of things, He probably is thinking in his mind something along the effect of like, I don't really want to commit myself too much to a relationship right now because I really need to focus on setting myself up so that I'm worthy of a relationship, so that I can take care of a family, so that I can do this and I can do that. Assuming that that's where he's at. And that's just kind of the vibration that I'm kind of picking up here. So we'll see. And then as far as the near future goes, probably I'm calibrated to about 3 months out, like I always tell you guys. We have the Three of Cups. Okay. Now, cups are about relationships, but if you look at this card, it's a celebration. These three ladies, they're having a good time. They're celebrating their victory, celebrating the harvest. They say three is a charm. Well, three strikes, you're out. Three is a charm. These are some overarching themes that we have with the threes. And this is about accomplishment. So there's sort of a sense of accomplishment going on. So in a couple of months from now, probably about 2 to 3 months, you're going to start, this guy will start to feel like a sense of achievement. Like he's really kind of setting himself up, positioning himself. He's going to have a series of some successes. He's putting in the hard work now, and then things are going to come about. He'll feel a sense of abundance, like a sense of, that happiness, basically. And it'll end a lot of the confusion, a lot of the ideas and these thoughts that were going through his mind a couple of months ago. Those will start to kind of subside. He will have kind of chosen for himself, kind of at least mentally, what his next step is, what he wants in his life. And some of these bigger life choices will start to materialize, and he'll start to see some results. It won't be right away, but it will happen over time. But this is really a time of celebration. It's a happy time. So it's a good position to be in. Let's look at the energy just for a moment around this Knight of Pentacles. We were talking about this Knight of Pentacles here. Let's look at that for just a moment. So the Knight of Pentacles, kind of the energy that surrounds that is sort of this, we see her, she's kind of got the swords, there's the moon there, she's blindfolded. This is a time of decision. And when we see this card come up, it's more about like, sometimes, when we pick one decision, it means that we have to maybe forego some other decision or something along those lines. But it's really, that's kind of the energy that we start to see with this card. And sometimes those decisions can be hard. Like you might have to give up something in order to get something else. And there might be some cognitive dissonance with that, or, maybe you get something and then you're like, man, did I make the right decision? That kind of thing. That's really what's going on with this Knight of Pentacles. So there's that bit of energy there, sort of like, what is it that I really want? And if I have to make a choice about one thing over another, I want to make the right choice. That's really what's going on with that Two of Swords there. Remember, swords are the mental. These are things in the mind. Sometimes we're blinding ourselves intentionally to our decisions because we don't really want to have to make a decision. But sometimes indecision is in itself still a decision. And so the objective here, at least for him, is to take his time to make the best choice for himself. Let's look at where you're at with this, all of this kind of stuff going on here. We have the Two of Wands. Two is, of course, relationships. It's symbolic of kind of meetups. It's a sense of togetherness, that kind of thing. And then we have the World here. It's sort of like, looking at things like what do we want for for our inner world. What kind of situation do we want? There's still that one wand behind him, and then he's got one kind of moving forward. Are we walking away from a relationship? Are we moving in that direction? We want to know what's kind of going on with a relationship to figure things out. So, it could be that you want to take maybe some type of a traditional approach, or maybe some kind of more modern approach to relationships. And you got to figure out what's going to really, be the best thing. So it's a time of planning things out, putting things together, kind of evaluating your options, that kind of thing, with this relationship. And so now that we've got all of this here, kind of this foundational stuff out of the way, again, remember that keyword foundational or concrete. Excuse me, guys. I've been doing a lot of service today, so a little bit tired. So where we're at so now we're going to shift gears just a minute, and we're going to talk about the outcome. So let's remember what we're focusing on here. This is about her and him. It's about Madelyn and the guy that she's fond of, and what that outcome is going to look like. What the future has in store for them. Does he want to be with her? What's he feeling for her right now? All of these kind of thoughts. Most importantly, is he coming back? So this is a message where we kind of shift gears just a tiny, teensy little bit, where now instead of putting the focus on Dylan, this guy, there I said his name, let's try to now shift the focus back over to Madelyn. So this outcome here has a lot to do with kind of the collective outcome of what happens. But in this particular reading, we're getting a little bit of advice from the tarot. And the advice we're getting, as far as our outcome goes, is this High Priestess. Look at that 2 right there. We just talked about 2, didn't we? It's about togetherness. Togetherness. But this is probably one of the more spiritual cards in the deck. This is a very psychic card. The High Priestess, she knows a lot of, she knows things that other people just really don't know. She knows a lot of the great mysteries of things, but she keeps them pretty quiet. And, she's always whispering this little message over and over. She's kind of like that conscience on the shoulder, the Jiminy Cricket, whatever you want to call it. She's kind of whispering and saying, she's a good angel, basically, with the halo. She's basically saying to you, trust your intuition, trust yourself, love yourself. And, follow your heart on this matter. And so that's kind of where we're coming, to grips with on this. So where it comes to intuition really is the key for this relationship. You got to trust yourself with this. And it's a big thing. Now, how do you get to this place of trust? How do you get to figure out what your intuition is in that? That's where the answer card comes in. And it's the last card that we'll talk about here. And then we'll just kind of talk in general about the overall result here. So the last card that we have the 7 of Wands. Now, before I show you the card and everything, keep in mind that 7 in numerology is really kind of a spiritual, it's more of an inward kind of thing. So like if you're ever like in a 7 year, it really has a lot to do with like, you find yourself like equipoise, or like doing some kind of self-reflection, distancing yourself from a group of people that maybe you're closely associated with, maybe being more by yourself, more prayer, more supplication, things like that, thinking more in terms of the spiritual. And that's really the 7. Now, what we have with the Wands, though, is we have this guy, he's up on a hill, and he's got all these people trying to get his power from him, trying to, take what's his. And, he's finding himself having a fight with it. Here's the really cool thing, though, is he's got the higher position. And because he has a higher position, he's able to kind of hold his own. And that's where you're at. You need to just hold your own with this relationship. And then you're going to find that your intuition, your instincts about that are going to really be in your favor. They're going to teach you what to say, how to present yourself, how to communicate effectively with this guy. And, the whole 9 yards. Everything will be really kind of mapped out for you. And that mapping out comes about really through your intuition. It's your feelings, your emotions. And you have to kind of, as a High Priestess would say, you have to kind of trust your inner self in this matter in order to bring these things up. So now, what do I feel as far as just psychic and intuition tells me? Yeah, good question. So where I'm at with this, as far as what I'm feeling and all, and I can kind of in my mind see him and really get a sense of who he is and kind of where he's at. Um, I see more like you're looking more for like immediacy and just some kind of confirmation, whereas he is more kind of like he's taking kind of a more of a withdrawn position right now. In this withdrawn position that he's taking, he's doing a lot of introspection. He's trying to figure out, what it is he wants, what his next plan is, what his next move is, what's he going to be doing here in the near future, all these kind of things. And it's not about just living day to day for him right now. For him, it's really about planning, being methodical, maybe saving money, all these kind of things so that he can get himself up in a pretty good position so that he feels pretty confident. So, he can be competitive. He can win the girl. He can, get the job. He can, anything that he needs to do, get into the nice school, whatever it happens to be. That's kind of where his focus is on. It's sort of this a plan of self-excellency is kind of where he's at right now. Now, if you understand that, then you can kind of understand how he feels about you. You can kind of put two and two together with it. At least I can. I mean, I can kind of pick it up. And what I really feel is that, though he cares about you and he enjoys your company and everything, and it's, in that respect, he's more focused in this other direction. And the other direction he's focused on is just, how do I get my life the way that I want it to be? And what exactly is it that I want it to be? So he's got two things which can be kind of like conflicting. They conflict against one another. So, and then he's got you. He's got maybe other people that are important in his life, parents or loved ones or, whatever else is going on in his life. And it could be that he has his job or something along those lines or some kind of a position. And then maybe he has school or something, who knows? So he's got all these different variable things going on so that his sole focus is not on you. That can be hard to take sometimes for people that, why is he not communicating? Why is he not talking to me? It's been like 2 weeks. It's been this, why am I not getting any kind of signal from this guy? Well, it's like one of those things where sometimes you're really, really busy and you have a lot going on. And though you want to stop and smell the roses or, smell the coffee, whatever the saying goes, and then really be able to reconnect with yourself and then reconnect with people you care about, it's not always possible. Sometimes we just get too caught up in the moment, in the movement of what's going on. And 1 week goes and another week goes and another week goes and another week goes. Before you know it, a month has passed and then 2 months and 3 months and so on and so forth. So if it were me and I was in your position, really, I guess what I would say, and what I think would be pretty sound advice, intuitively, I'm picking up that maybe it would be a good idea to connect with him quite subtly. Like, you have your life, you have everything going on in your life. That's good. And be good with that. Like, set yourself up in a nice way also. The guy shouldn't be your whole life, but he can be an aspect of your life, just maybe one part of it. And then that one part, maybe it's 1/10 of everything you have going on in your life. That 1/10, don't get real caught up in it. But at the same time, learn about this concept or this idea of love, this concept of service, just doing nice things for him. You don't have to, excuse me, a little yawn there. You don't have to go over the top with this. It doesn't mean that, you start getting a job or, getting money and then giving it to him. Don't do that. It's not about just giving him a gift every time you see him or something like that. It's the little things, it's the tiny little things that put a smile on someone's face that says, this person really cares. They're not going too crazy. They're not going too much over the top, but they really do care. And that's it. So, yeah. And I think if you do that, you're going to be in pretty good stead, but you need a way of staying in touch. That's going to be really the key thing here. You haven't talked to him in maybe 2 weeks. He said, give me some space, some time. Well, there's a reason for that. And the reason we talked about was that, he's focusing in on the future and these other things going on. So he needs a little bit of distance. He doesn't have time to really so much focus on you. That's painful to think about. It doesn't mean he doesn't care. It just means that where you're at in his life, your place in his life, is not top priority for him. I know that's sometimes hard for us to take in, but it doesn't mean that you're not a significant part of his life or part of his idea for his future and stuff. We just don't really know. I get a sense that you are, but it would be better for you if you just do something sweet, something nice, something kind, but very subtly. Don't make a big deal about it, but just do something nice for him. Put a little smile on his face. Just let him know that you care, without, going too crazy over the top with everything. Just let him know, hey, I care about you, and I know you're busy and you got a lot going on. Give you your space, and that is no big deal. I just want to do something nice for you, so I went ahead and did this, or but just a nice way of staying in touch. I know a lot of people do like text messaging and things nowadays. You can do that on a small scale, but not often. I would just say, maybe, something sweet, just a little quick message, and just let them know, it's the middle of the day, you're busy with a lot of things going on. Say, hey, I'm so caught up with things right now. I got a lot going on, but I just wanted to reach out and say, I'm thinking about you, and I hope you're having a nice day. Something as simple as that. That goes a long way. I mean, it's like you're not telling him exactly what all you got going on. You're just hinting at it, That way it leaves him kind of guessing, like, well, geez, she must be doing quite a bit with herself too. Like, what has she got going on? And here's the thing: when people are looking for a life partner, they're looking for a mate, and especially like younger people, they're often they're sizing people up to see, okay, who would be a good catch? Who's somebody I could see myself living with, partnering with for the long term? Like, who's somebody that I can get on the same page with? And a lot of times that means similarities, things that are kind of paired up similarly. Now later, relationships are a little bit different. Like the way that people tend to perceive things, you don't have to be exactly on the same page. They're not looking for somebody exactly like them, into the same things that they're into. That's going to be like, a model figure in their life. Diversity happens. And so people realize, hey, let's just, pick someone nice, somebody that is civil, and somebody that cares, and somebody that's not out to hurt me, and those kind of things. We start to kind of size things up in that. And then if somebody has their own interests or things that they're interested in, maybe I don't care so much about. Maybe she doesn't care so much about the things I'm interested in. Maybe I don't care so much about the things she's in. Whatever the case happens to be, and vice versa. You're like, okay, that's fine. They have their interests. That's great. I've got my interests. No problem. So a lot of that kind of thing. So yeah. So that's kind of where I'm picking up things. You want to go on with your life moving forward, but at the same time, you don't want to be so distant, or like somebody says, give me space. That's cool. But then you can just every now and then reach out. People like that. It makes them feel needed. It makes them feel important. And then, serving them in whatever capacity you can is huge. And the more that you serve or help or do something nice, or, commit to something with them, that's going to build relationship with them. And as you build more of those relationship points, the more solid the relationship happens to come about. And then that person falls deeper and deeper and deeper in love with you. That's how it works. So I hope this reading works pretty good for you. I'm picking up really a strong sense that you guys are going to be together, but I think it's going to be kind of more of like, things are going to get busy. I'm picking that up, like, for both of you guys, not just for him, but you're going to want to be more with him than he's going to want to be with you, because he's going to be so like kind of in his head about, I got to get this going. Yeah, I care about her, but really I got to focus on this other stuff because I do care about her. Whereas you might just be thinking about him and say, well, you should spend more time with me, or you should do this and that. Don't be so clingy, because he wants someone that is, able to give him the space so that he can, create space for that person, and also create a life for that person. He's got these ideas in his head, and if you ask him about his ideas, just hear him out, let him do the talking, and then just really listen. And then, just asking questions, say, wow, that's really fascinating that you're interested in that kind of thing. Don't ask him. Don't try to veer the conversation back around where you fit into that picture. Don't worry about that. If you do that, you might be disappointed because he's probably going to be like, well, I don't know, I haven't really thought that much through. That's probably the truth. He probably hasn't put a lot of thought into that aspect of it, because this other stuff is sort of like setting that foundation so more things can come into his life, over time, over the course of history. That's really where this is at. So you're in a good place with the relationship. You just need to reach out to him very softly, subtly, sweetly, let him know that you care about him, and that but not so over the top, just kind of lightly let him know that you're busy doing your thing, but that, you just want to check in on him and say, see how he's doing. And then every now and then just kind of reach out. You don't have to do it like all the time, but if he starts to reciprocate, it's okay to reciprocate, but just, do it on the surface for right now. And then let him come to you with the deeper things. Okay. So that's really it. And then things are going to be fine. I can see you guys, probably 7 or 8 months down the line, I could see things where he really does try this whole reconnection thing with you. And it will be more deeper for him. Like, he's going to get himself, well, we already know, like in, 2 to 3 months, he's going to start getting to a place where he's feeling some wins, some victories, like he's achieving some things. And he's going to want to share that with you. So if you just hang in there, don't get too caught up in his rejection and stuff. I think things are going to be good. But I would also do as the high priestess suggests, listen to your intuition and really trust yourself with this, and that will be probably some of the best advice I could give you. And it's actually not my advice, it's the high priestess's advice. So she's pretty wise. So anyways, Madelyn, I hope that helps. If you need anything, please reach out to me. I'm always here for you. Also, guys, of course, if you want to support the monks and help us spread love for God and help homelessness and all these other great things that we're involved with doing on a day-to-day basis, you can donate by going helpbydonating.com. We get it, and then it just, wherever the need is most, that's where the money gets spent. So just so you know, that you can go to helpbydonating.com. I'll have that link in the description below this video. And also I'll have my email address so that if you guys want to reach out to me, if you want a reading or if something pressing is going on in your life and you need some help, hey, I'm here for you. So I love all of you guys, and I hope to see you guys on the next episode of Indirect Knowledge. Much love and many blessings. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell notification so you get updates whenever we come online. See you guys on the next episode.